Well, hello there ladies and gentlemen, I'm Philanthropone and I'm back with another brand new review here for the game Ven VR Adventure. Ven VR Adventure is a game I have actually known about and have been aware of for some time now, as I'd occasionally get emails from the developers back when it was an Oculus exclusive, and I finally decided to give it a go now that it's on Steam. First, the game is designed to be a sit-down game, and I'd recommend playing on a swivel chair with enough room to spin around, which is great with a wireless Vive headset where there won't be any tangled cords. If you're wired, you'll have to resort to using the quick turn function, which works just fine though. Ven VR Adventure is a platform game that brought to mind some of the classics of the genre, such as Crash Bandicoot and Jak and Daxter. The game has a level of polish I was not expecting and performs great, with no stutters or hitches, and the character animations are impressive, whether it be movement, jumping, or just Ven's charismatic expressions.
Whoa! Oh. Hey!
The combat in Ven VR Adventure is pretty straightforward, as you have a general melee attack and a very satisfying slam attack that pretty much one-shots all enemies. The platforming gameplay is what you'd expect from a game of the genre, where you have to avoid obstacles, use your double jump, and execute near-perfect timing to reach your objective. Ven VR Adventure is often compared to Moss, and everyone wants to know if it's as good. And while they do share some similarities, there are some key differences worth pointing out. For one, Moss has little to no camera movement, where you're left in a stationary position as you transition from scene to scene. In Ven, the camera moves forward as the character does, but does not constantly follow him at all times. This is a huge plus in my books, because with less camera movement, there is a much lower chance of becoming motion sickness, and I personally had no problems at all in that department. With that said though, the camera situation in Ven is not perfect, as the camera is unable to move backwards should you need to backtrack and get something that you missed, which means that things that you'll need to see might be obstructed from your view, and there's not much you can do about it. The character Ven also is at times almost directly below you, to where looking down at him can be awkward, but I wouldn't call these things deal breakers when it comes to deciding on whether or not to buy the game. Also, Moss is more of a puzzle game than it is a pure platform game, where Ven is purely platforming. Both games feature their own unique combat mechanics as well, where Moss is more strategic with a dodge ability, and Ven is more of a hit before being hit type of thing. I will say though that in Ven, the slam attack I mentioned is so effective in taking out enemies that it felt like the standard attack almost became obsolete, other than to smash crates. And I found myself pretty much using the smash attack at all times as I played. As far as the game difficulty is concerned, the game starts off being very easy, but gets increasingly difficult as you progress. And while simply progressing through the levels is always doable, be warned that if you're the completionist type, where you're out to collect every little thing the game has to offer, you may run into some challenges that are on the brink of being a frustrating experience, whether that means avoiding a challenging enemy or getting to very hard to reach areas. Thankfully, the checkpoint system, which you trigger by smashing a small object, is quite generous, as you run into them often enough to where your anxiety levels are in check most of the time as you play. Lastly, the game is currently on sale for $27 at the time of this recording, and for the 6 to 8 hours of gameplay that it offers, I'd say that's a little bit steep in my opinion. My sweet spot for a game like this in terms of price would be maybe around $15 to $20, and I think that's fair for a polished game of this length. And in the end, Ven VR Adventure comes close to reaching the heights of similar VR games of the genre, but its few shortcomings, such as the camera ordeal and a few frustrating gameplay moments, makes it fall short just a bit. However, I don't want to emphasize those things too much, because most of my time with the game was a very fun experience. So with all of that said, I give Ven VR Adventure a final score of 8 out of 10. So that's all for this one. Thank you so much as always for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you're new to my channel and are interested in VR or gaming in general, be sure to subscribe to my channel for all of my latest updates in the future. Thank you once again. Till next time. Peace.